Today, I have something really exciting to share with you guys. We're going to dive into a little bit about the biggest problem that we face in crypto today, the single biggest barrier to all of our futures, but also how we at Immunefi and all of our partners from around the world are coming together to solve that problem. And yes, there will be alpha in the announcement, so congratulations, you'll get what you came for. Now, first and foremost, let's take a quick review. In case you haven't been watching, there are tens of trillions of dollars looking to come on chain right now. And if you think that's an overstatement, I can guarantee you, I have talked to many of the firms, banks, financial institutions, governments. Trillions, literal trillions of dollars are waiting to be born anew on chain and change our world forever. But they're stuck. There are some problems, right? The first batch of this is this $200 billion stablecoin market that's forming, that's coming alive, that's brought so much energy and life this year at Token 2049. It's just the beginning. Wall Street and government down the lines will be much bigger. And they're coming for many, many reasons, right? Many, many reasons are driving this. They're motivated by capital controls. They're motivated by chaos in the political arena. They're motivated by devaluations of assets. They're motivated by efficiency. They're motivated by the opportunity to make money and to create value. It's an incredible migration. But, like I said, they're stuck. Because while all this is beautiful looking, while it's a bright, shining star in the world of finance, and in my view, commerce in general, one of the great engines of society, there's a huge shadow that's being cast. There's a big, Sauron's eye looking scarily at our whole market, and if this shadow isn't dealt with, then this migration may not occur, or certainly not in the way that we desire. And that problem is security, okay? If we look back over the last 5 years, the central problems of crypto, we have three. UX, high-value products. This problem is now solved. You can find the best products in the financial world in crypto. Incredible products for those of us who come from that world, who have played with those things. Crypto is amazing. Number two, regulation. In a turn of events, the President of the United States is on our side. We have won major parts of the EU with MiCA, and many, many, many Asian economies are coming on board. We are winning the war for regulation. Within a few years, it'll already be done. But security, we're not winning the war on security. And security will decide whether this on-chain migration, whether these tens of trillions of dollars come to live in crypto natively, or they don't. And here's why, for some context. Last year, we had over $2 billion in hacks. This year, we've had well more than that, and the year is not even done. This is the worst year for hacks on record. We're not even including scams here, which have exploded in sophistication thanks to the rise of AI tools. Okay? You can go check the Polymarket odds if you want. The odds of a hack happening there are very, very high. From my point of view, I think the odds there are too low. It's easy money to predict that there's going to be a large, major hack in the industry before the year is out. And that's a scary thing to have to say. But that's the state of the market today. Think of this. There's at least, when we go to the end of this year, it's going to be at minimum a 3 to 4% of all TVL hacked. This year alone. Okay? If we're unlucky, it'll be 5 or 6. Or more, a scary thought. In the traditional financial world, once you get past 0.1, 0.2, 0.3%, the results are catastrophic. People lose their jobs. In many cases, criminal charges may get filed. How are governments around the world, how are financial institutions going to allow a migration of tens of trillions of dollars in capital and their whole financial future, everything that they've built for generations, to move on chain with this type of risk and with this type of insecurity? I imagine most of you here have money in different contracts, and I bet most of you here are afraid for that money in some cases. Some contracts maybe you trust, many you definitely don't. We can't afford to keep this way, not when there's such a vast prize on the line. Now, this is being driven by a few factors, right? Insecurity is a catch-all label for a bunch of specific problems. One is a vast increase in the threat spectrum. For the last, if I look 2 or 3 years ago, the main problem is audits, code security, bug bounties, in my case. But look, guess what? We've done really well there. That space has gotten safer and safer and safer over this time. But you know what hasn't? Treasury security hasn't gotten better. Social engineering has increased dramatically. Attacks on internal infrastructure, right? Increasing use of things that do smell like 0 days from state-sponsored actors a la North Korea, but also others. We saw similar attacks by several other countries that I'm aware of. This is a hostile environment, and it's getting ugly. Now, even if you realize that you can't defend yourself from all these different types of attacks, and you go looking out for a solution, you can't actually tell what works. Because the big problem is security, is that everybody makes the same grand claims, and it's very hard to validate them. It's very hard to benchmark them, so you get stuck there. You have an opaque black box market at the end of the day. And even if you do get those two, you gamble it, you bet your career, I believe in this product, I believe in this monitoring solution, I believe in this anti-spear phishing solution. Okay, go for it. Well, then everything that you have, everything that we have today as an industry is human operated and reactive. And for those of us who run that security infrastructure, what that means is every time there's a gap in that flow, in that automation, I have to throw my own human body into the loop. I am the workflow. I am the integration that connects different pieces of my infrastructure. And eventually, that'll kill me. Now, thankfully, most of us just get burned out. And then we stop war rooming forever. We stop contributing in that part of the security industry. It's a really big problem, and it's spreading now across all of these different threat vectors. The reality is, if we want trillions of dollars to flow on chain, we need to solve these problems because trillions in capital demands, requires, expects safety in operation. It's a non-negotiable. We need to create something that can provide that. Okay? The future, the era of the frontier is coming to its end. We already won that battle, you guys. We created incredible, world-defining financial technology that is going to change the lives of our descendants everywhere and create, in my view, a much better commercial world. That's going to create a lot of goodness. But we need to distribute that with safety. We need security rails that can take any one of the coming dozens of solutions that will be needed and distribute them to the customer exactly when and where they are most needed. And that's what we're doing at Immunefi. We believe this is the single most important challenge facing the future of the blockchain world, certainly, and security specifically. If we can solve this problem, if we can create this security operating system, this unified security platform that brings together the best of what the security community can offer and delivers that in that targeted way, in that curated way, just when a project may need it most, we finally have a vehicle that can take the learnings from the frontier for those of us dealing with the scariness of North Koreans infiltrating our hiring pipeline, or new and novel attack vectors, or attempted scams on our community and ripping them off. We can take all these best techniques that we're all learning the hard way, right, through blood and suffering, and bring them to every other project instantaneously across the world. That's what the security OS needs to do. There's not any one solution to these problems at the end of the day, you guys. There's no easy way. There's no magic bullet. There's no white knight. There's 40 or 50 different brutal challenges, any one of which can rob us, can rob our users, can rob us of our legitimacy, can criminalize us, and worse. The only solution is to defend against every possible attack vector with a specialized solution built by the most brilliant people in the industry, which include many people here in this room. I know, I'm looking at you guys. This is the most important thing. We need to guarantee the quality of security by taking the very best and most advanced solutions from the frontier spent literally fighting North Koreans and make them accessible to thousands of customers instantaneously with one-click deployment without them having to do a single piece of work. This all brought together in one environment, in one platform, automated by default with a common data layer, is going to create incredible leverage across the industry. It's going to create integration by default for all these partners. It's going to create the ability to create net new automations and workflows that deal with threats we can't even imagine today. And it's going to provide incredible leverage when combined with the last and most critical piece, of course, which is AI solutions built on top. We don't need one. We need dozens of different automations, AI solutions, machine learning applications, and many others that are all working together on a threat-by-threat basis to go and provide instantaneous remediation against attacks. That can provide 24/7 coverage, even when the humans aren't around or even when the humans fail. This is the only way we get to a world where we can really support trillions of dollars in on-chain value. And we're not building this alone. We're building this with the best players, the best technologists in the entire industry. Of course, at the leading edge of that are the Immunefi security researchers, absolutely, coming along with us for the ride, who've done an incredible job contributing to date, and much more in them for come. But also now, an ecosystem of providers, supporters, technologists, and our view, the great minds, players like Dedaub, who have built some of the most incredible vulnerability detection and decompilation tech. We will apply them at scale. Players like Nexus Mutual have built the best on-chain insurance products. Players like Fuzzland, advanced fuzzing technology, FailSafe, compliance and threat detection, and so many others. ChainPatrol, anti-scam. So many more to come. This is the beginning. Right? We have dozens more in the pipeline. We will take wherever we find the best solution for the problem that can keep people safe, that can keep the industry safe, and bring them to every customer at Immunefi. We will all succeed together. And if we can do that well, that's going to ultimately drive this flywheel of protection. This is how we keep up with threats that operate at the speed of these new AI solutions. I've seen them. I've experienced novel spear phishing attacks. I've seen different ways of trying to creep into my production pipelines and that of many of my customers. There's no easy way to deal with this. But if we all work together, one common data layer, mass adoption of these tools, we can use these data sets in order to create solutions that allow us to scale with the entire industry. We're already protecting the core of the industry with our bug bounties. You guys all know that. But what you may not be aware of is that we're protecting so much more today. We are becoming this key piece. If we can succeed with this, we'll become this key piece of infrastructure. We've already protected more valuable than any other player so far. But with this, we are going to expand ultimately to the rest of the world and become the default layer for security. Us, our many, many partners, our security researchers, all tackling the biggest and most difficult problem crypto is facing together. And to come along with that, of course, we will be launching the Immu token, which will be a key part of that, the single most important piece for allowing us to scale. We couldn't do this alone. A token that coordinates, that incentivizes, that brings all of us, every Immunefi partner, Immunefi security researchers, all the other future partners to come who decide that they too want to earn by doing good, all of us coming together and benefiting through one new instrument. Now, more details on the token will come soon enough. I don't want to go too much into the specifics there, otherwise we'll never leave. So that's the important piece. We're also announcing as part of this push, as a concrete expression of this change, 2 new products here. The first one is the Immunefi Firewall, powered by Dedaub. Thanks to the brilliant minds of Dedaub, we have developed a new system that can provide runtime protection at vast scale, and critically, without breaking composability, in a new solution that does not necessarily require direct sequencer or blockchain integration. This is something that, in the world of firewalling, which needs to become adopted at vast scale for us to get where we're going, we haven't seen yet. A system that preserves total protocol sovereignty over their contracts while allowing the best players in the world to plug advanced detection tech and protect them when they need it most instantaneously. This is really exciting. We'll be talking a little bit more to Yannis about this to learn more. And the second thing that we're announcing is, of course, the Immunefi Code Review Agent. So we have been working on this now for several years, collating not just the best of what the Immunefi security researcher pool, of course, in the audit front has to offer, but everything that we've managed to learn and collect and collate from Immunefi's proprietary data sets, along with the work of all of our partners. We've created the most comprehensive data set in the history of crypto, of on-chain vulnerabilities of all kinds, and we will be deploying this to our customers at scale so they get the benefit of staying safe at the earliest possible time. And unlike a lot of players, this is ultimately something that we will not just keep for ourselves, but all members of the Immunefi ecosystem, all participants in the Immunefi token, will be sharing in the benefits of. So that's a little bit about where we're going next. I think that when we look back a few years from today, God willing, we'll look back and think, okay, this was a defining moment. This model ended up having incredible impacts in preventing real hacks, and preventing real loss, and unlocking trillions and then tens of trillions of dollars in the decade to follow of value moving on chain. And it will be because a group of brilliant technologists, certainly most of you here, I hope, joined together to protect the ecosystem in a way that could bring all of your incredible expertise out to the masses in the market and to every single protocol in existence. That's what we're doing with Immunefi, the security OS, and we're doing this for the whole on-chain economy. So there you go. Now, next, I need to take a little break. I'm realizing now that the suit jacket might have been a mediocre choice when you're speaking. It's very hot in here. Thanks, Hugo. And I want to allow some of my colleagues here, I'm really excited, really happy working with Yannis and Moti here in two different capacities to present a little bit about what they've built because it's downright magic. Yannis, please come. Would love to hear more about what you've built with the Firewall.
Thank you very much, Mitchell. So, start? Yes, please. Well, thank you. So, I'm Yannis from Dedaub, co-founder of Dedaub, and I'm going to talk to you about the Immunefi Firewall powered by Dedaub. So I'll try to give you a glimpse of the configurability and what exactly you can do or what to expect from our firewall. So there's a short video that's playing in a second, and I will be pointing at various elements on the UI. This is all, first of all, on the Magnus platform, the Immunefi Magnus platform. So you can see on the platform right here, if we can start the video. I'll start the video from the beginning and narrate, as long as I have it on screen, please. Maybe like that. Okay, good. And play is space. Okay, good. So I'll just use my finger to point. It's going to be better. So we are on Magnus. On the left side, you see Firewall. We go in here. We'll have an idea of what the firewall is like. I've set up a couple of firewalls here. So on Ethereum, on Sepolia, on the testnet for Ethereum. So we'll see what kind of management we can do on the firewall, give you an idea there. So we're looking inside the firewall configuration that we have right now for a protocol deployed on the testnet. And you will see here the contracts that are registered on the firewall. So in this case, it's just a couple of sample contracts. We have a registered one and an unregistered one. Let's please, is this normal speed? I think it's, this is double speed. So if we can just play it normal speed, I would be fine. It doesn't matter. Let's play the video and I'll point to whatever I need. As long as we are on play. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Okay, so we'll have a couple of contracts here, registered and unregistered. Anything that tries to use your protocol ID but has not been registered by you is going to be reported here, and then you can check if this was a mistake. That's the protocol ID. There's full documentation for integration on the site inside the Magnus UI. We're not going to go through the documentation, but to give you an idea, it says what you need to do on the smart contract side as well as the deployment side, but that's just documentation. Every protocol has a protocol ID. anything that interacts with a firewall using that protocol ID needs to be registered in order to be protected. Otherwise, it's reported here as unregistered. So we'll try to look a bit at the configuration of the firewall. First of all, why can I make any changes to the configuration? It's because I'm an admin. What does it mean to be an admin? The wallet I'm going to use is the second one here, operator 0x183. That's my wallet. I'm registered as an admin of the protocol, and I'm going to show you how I configure. Every configuration change I make is registered here in the audit trail, so you can know who made this configuration change forever. And going back, we're now entering the configuration screen, and you can see here the configuration options that we have. The firewall has many modes. One of the modes is global blacklisting. That's the one we're going to enable in this configuration change. Our default mode and the main novelty of the firewall is what we call global whitelisting. Anyone who calls me needs to have been vetted, but after that, there are no checks on their transaction. We'll get back to the global whitelisting because it's a major item, so we'll look at what they need to do to interact with my protocol. Okay, so we are having some technical troubles. Let's continue, and we hope it's going to recover. It's okay. So the idea is that, is the video playing? Okay, let's play the video. Let's keep playing, please. Okay, so we're good. So I made some configuration change. In this case, it was enable global blacklisting. And I will commit the changes and sign the transaction. I'm an operator, so it's just a normal on-chain transaction. So the UI creates the transaction for me. I commit it, I sign it, and it's going to take a little bit. We're not playing right now. Okay, so it's going to commit the transaction, and we're going to have to wait 7-8 seconds to commit, just because of it's on-chain, actually. And it's going to bring about the changes to the protocol configuration on the on-chain firewall. Now, that's all that you need to do as a firewall admin. You've registered your protocol, you've put the exact snippets inside your contracts, and then you can determine what kind of protection you have. You can have blacklisting protection to turn away suspicious addresses. You can have whitelisting protection to allow only vetted contracts. And then you can determine dynamic protection either through invariants that you specify or by watching transactions, but that's more intrusive. It does break composability a bit, so we're not encouraging it. The UI that we're seeing now is the UI for the main mode, which is the vetting UI for clients that want to interact with your protocol under what we call global whitelisting. So if someone wants to interact with your protocol, comes here, comes to the UI and gets their contracts approved so that they can actually freely interact with the firewall from that point on. Now, what goes behind this UI? What's the approval process? Well, the approval process is going to be, first of all, whatever we can determine automatically through a multitude of algorithms, including learning algorithms. And when we cannot be sure automatically, this is going to be escalated to a human expert. So if you go for that protection mode, someone will look at the contracts that try to interact with you and will vet them so that they can integrate from this point on. What can these contracts be? They can be aggregators, they can be bots, they can be anyone who needs to interact with your protocol. There's going to be no further intervention through transactions. At the point of submitting a transaction under global whitelisting, you're already vetted, you are already a good actor, you are not hindered from interacting with the protocol in any way. So I think you got an idea, roughly, of the configurability as well as the integration inside the Magnus UI, and that's kind of the taste that I want to give. I know it was a little bit much for the 4 minutes, but I think we got enough of a taste that we can ask interesting questions and we can elaborate on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yannis. Okay, so while the video is loading, I'm Moti. I head up the product team here at Immunefi. I'm going to be talking to you about our AI-powered code review agent. And I'll be showing you a demo of what that looks like. So just while the video is loading. Yeah, I'm going to be showing you 3 things here today. The first thing that I'm going to show you is how easy it is to use our code review agent, how easy it is to set it up. I'm going to show you an example of our code review agent actually finding a vulnerability, and then just show you how that interface looks like if you're a developer and you're going through your development life cycle. All right? Yep, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, so this is the Magnus interface. On the left-hand side, you can see all of the services that we have. And this here specifically is our pull request review management pane. And in this view, I'm going to show you just quickly how easy it is to set up a GitHub integration and link your GitHub repo with Magnus. And so that should come up in a moment. So just while that is loading there, there's a couple of things that you see there. Is that playing? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so that's loading. And so, yeah, we click on the GitHub organization. The user is going to go select one of their repos. It's going to be the developer account there. They're going to select that, and they're going to install the Immunefi GitHub application within that repo. So they've selected a specific repository, only that repository that they want. It's this Ether store repository. They install and authorized, right? So it then takes you to GitHub, and they've successfully installed the GitHub application. And you see it there. That's the new repo that has been loaded. So as quick as that, it's in, it's authorized, and now you can start looking at pull request reviews with our service. So then we look at what we can do. We can do AI reviews. We also do automated pull request reviews. And so with this, then what we're going to be looking at here is a sample smart contract. This is effectively a classic smart contract, which is an Ethereum bank. What it does is a user can deposit funds into a contract. They can withdraw funds. But this contract actually has a vulnerability, right? So, so the developer now, if you're a developer, you're going to make some changes. Like in this case, they want to add some functionality to this contract, which has a pre-existing vulnerability. So they go in, they put a comment, they made the change, and they submit the pull request, right? So they're now creating the pull request. And the pull request has been created, and it's gone through the whole process. And this is an example of the pull request. So with that contract, with that vulnerability, we're adding in some function which doesn't resolve the vulnerability, but it just adds in some additional functionality that we want to have in our smart contract, right? So that functionality has been added, and it's gone through, and now, within a couple, we've sped this up a little bit, but you can see there, they submitted the pull request in 6 minutes, pretty much instantaneously. They have a pull request review from our AI bot, right? And so here is an example of what the bot will, the code review agent will tell you. It gives you a description. It says it's found a re-entrancy vulnerability. So this is the classic bug from way back. It gives you the details of what that bug is. It tells you where it was found in your code, and allows you as a developer to pinpoint exactly where it was. And then it gives you an example of the impact that it may have, right? And so all of that information is available to you pretty much instantaneously. It gives you that really great visibility into security issues as part of your development workflow, right? Okay, and yeah, so this leverages 3 things that Immunefi have. So when we say code review agent, it's not just one agent, it's several agents. It's the auditor that reviews your code. Then we have a critic that looks and criticizes its own work. This helps you reduce false positives. And the final piece, we have automated proof of concept generation. And this helps to ensure that you get valid vulnerabilities. Right, thank you very much. And yeah, I think we now have a fireside.
Okay, guys, let's take a seat. We'll try and make this quick and free everybody soon enough. but I want to ask some questions. Okay. It doesn't feel like it's at the right angle there, but whatever. So, Yannis, first of all, for you, you and I have both been in the industry forever, and we've actually seen firewall solutions before. And we've been, coincidentally, both of them have been tracking them over the years. And there's something really, really different about what you've created. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, so I think if we are to look at what firewalls have done so far, they will either go in what we call blacklisting mode, where they will prevent actors from interacting with you if they're already being blacklisted, if they're bad actors through some past analysis. That has to be conservative, no matter how you slice or dice it. If you have an algorithm that preemptively precludes someone from interacting with a protected protocol, either it will catch a small percentage of the vulnerabilities or will turn away completely valid callers. And typically, because you cannot turn away completely valid callers most of the time, what most firewalls will do in that sense is that they will catch about half the actual attacks. They will not catch a very high proportion of the attacks. The second solution that does catch a high proportion of the attacks is a solution where you are in the middle and you filter every single transaction and you look at every transaction. And that's great. There are good firewalls either at the sequencer level or at the protocol level that work with this principle, but they break DeFi composability. Because if you have to control every transaction, I cannot go and write a bot that interacts with a protected protocol. I cannot create a derivative service, a yield aggregator, or any kind of DeFi aggregator that invests both in your protocol and in some other protocols. I cannot write derivative protocols if all my transactions cannot go through my UI. They need to talk to your backend to get signatures before they get submitted. So what we are trying to do here is have a firewall that does not break DeFi composability, and that's where our new mode comes in, the global whitelisting mode. It means that anyone can interact with your protocol freely. We don't get in the middle. We don't filter your transactions, as long as we have already vetted you. As long as we have already vetted vetted your code, vetted the logic of your contract. So you have a bot. You submit to the vetting UI either automatically or semi-automatically with some human expert intervention. We say, yes, this is a bot. This is not a hack. This is not North Korea here or any other bad actor. Let this bot interact freely. So this does not break composability in the sense that anyone can integrate and build derivative services over a protected protocol.
Now, there's something interesting about that model that you described, this kind of vetting approach. Now, if I understand correctly, doesn't it result in some kind of funny, unusual, not yet seen before kind of network effects or growth that comes as a result?
That's what we're hoping. I mean, the principle of DeFi has been what we used to call in the early days money Legos. It has been composability. So we'd like to have protected protocols that know with confidence that other protocols can integrate with them, and that's what creates the network effect. Either protocols interacting or derivative protocols that sit on top and use the other protocols as low-level pools.
So everybody who's accessing this global whitelisting function on this firewall will be able to have access to all the previously whitelisted, vetted work, in addition to anything that they might do for themselves. Is that correct?
That's correct, in the sense that if you have a bot and it's interacting with 10 different protocols and 5 of them are protected by the Immunefi firewall, you only need to vet your bot once. You get vetted once and forever. You're not vetted again and again based on the interactions, on the transactions, or even the number of protocols you interact with.
Fascinating. The thing I really like about this is it's finally, and something I find inspiring on the firewall front is we've been stuck with this kind of transaction level filtering approach for so long, which has been a real hobble. I mean, it works in its way. It's not foolproof, but it works. But it's been a hobble on growth. It's been a hobble on extensibility of products. It's been a hobble on being able to use our products as platforms, which is the entire basis upon which crypto success has been built to date. So it was insane that we were doing that. I mean, this approach that you've proposed is something that could really scale. Like, we need to be imagining a world where there are hundreds and hundreds of protocols that are all kind of leveraging each other's work to allow and get whitelisted players. And the reality is that the amount of players in the space who are interacting with these contracts is unlikely to grow disproportionately. Like, it's much easier to stay on top of the human challenge, the institutional challenge, the fun challenge, and how they're integrating with different contracts and how they're playing around with their own automations than it would be to, try and make everybody build in a funkier way where everybody has to go to everybody else's walled garden by default. So that's really, really interesting. Any final thoughts on that you want to share?
No, I think you said everything. I know we're keeping people from alcohol and food, but I will be around for the next several hours, for as long as you need me. So you will catch me in this room. I will have a drink in my hands, but please ask me questions, raise objections, anything you need. Please do talk to me even after this chat is over.
That's perfect. Now that I know you're drinking, we're going to play a game of chess. Wonderful. Finally.
I've gotten better.
Oh, shoot.
I've been playing Blitz for the past year.
Oh,
you won't beat me so
That's
easily.
not good. I think I left you some trauma. Oh, man. Moti, I have some questions for you.
Go for it.
I know that this particular system is novel. I've seen the whole arc of development for this code review agent that you've constructed. I would love to hear about what makes this system so special. I mean, we've seen some of these things over the years. It's not the first time we've seen automated code review agents. Obviously, we've had automated detectors, Slither being the most famous of them. What makes this code review agent different? Why is it special?
So I think the biggest differentiator we have is the fact that it's trained on Immunefi's largest data set of live, real-world found vulnerabilities. That's something that most other engines, static analyzers, fuzzers, etc., don't have access to this data set. So I think that's the one biggest advantage that we have and biggest differentiator. And then the other things that I talked about briefly in the demo there is it's not just one agent, it's several agents that work together. It's the critic that looks at the work of the previous agent, that does the analysis, that does that finds the initial vulnerability and then criticizes it. Effectively, it criticizes it to help identify false positives. And that's a problem that's plagued most of these other tools, the high rate of false positives. We think that we've done a lot of efforts with the critic, with the other third agent, which is the proof of concept generator that actually runs and executes a proof of concept against the found vulnerability. That all works together in concert to reduce the false positive rate.
Interesting. So you guys have completed an end-to-end flow here from vulnerability detection to validating the proof of concept that it would really work, that it would really run, and it's all right there.
Exactly. And what we like to think of it is the code review agent is effectively a researcher, right? It's not at the level of most of the top researchers that we have in the audience, but it's performing at a very good junior to mid-level security researcher. Right?
Sure. And in my experience, I do run those numbers with them, and I am constantly checking on the performance of people. And this system is already better than the average auditor, I would say, in my experience. This is pretty exciting. Now, there's a lot that can go on here. Where are you most excited for the application? How do you think about the applications of this agent into the future?
Yeah, so the initial application we have is with a code review, right? And this is part of what we want to see the change in the industry. If you're coming from Web 2, the whole idea of shift left, moving your security earlier in the development lifecycle, that's well accepted. In Web 3, we're still need to make progress on that. So that's one area. With this code review agent, it will really help development teams integrate this as part of their development lifecycle, help them reduce the time they have to go through audits. And in the future, we can even look at it for other use cases. For example, for triaging of bugs, it would help you to decide what is a valid bug, what is the criticality of a bug, etc. Yeah.
Super exciting stuff. Now, I'll note there that one of the things I'm most excited for here is really giving more power, giving more leverage to the elite security researchers on Immunefi who have already created such good for the industry. These guys are good. I want to put this tool in their hands, let them power even more. And what's more is I don't see, at least me personally, this kind of system replacing the human talent. If anything, I need more and more of them to share in the value of this. I see this as a way of giving massive leverage to our existing security researchers to expand their skill set even more and allow them to go after harder and harder vulnerabilities while them share in some of the value that's created in this type of system. And I think that's something unique.
Yeah, and just to your point, Mitchell, we definitely don't see this as a replacement for the ingenuity of the human security researcher, right? This is going to find all of those boring issues, but we really, as you said, we really see the ingenuity, of a human security researcher looking through those really complex problems, and our code review agent just helps them with that.
I can't wait to put this tool in the hands of our community. Guys, that was 4 questions. I think we all need to booze up. Thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed. And if you want to chat about anything, you have Moti here. Just chase him down. You have Yannis here. Wait till he drinks and then chase him down. And hopefully we'll have a good time. And also, critically, if any of you smoke cigars, let me know. I'm going to go and enjoy, and I would love your company.